All right, this is big time. I am currently waiting for Wicked to jump on. Hope she can jump on. We're going to be doing something. Been covering the LA riots. Found a documentary called Clash of Colors, link in the description. However, every documentary, everything you watch, at least according to me, has some sort of slant. They have some sort of angle or narrative they're trying to push. Journalists no longer are objective anymore. So I had another idea. I actually found about an hour and 12 minutes of live video coverage for the LA riots in 1992. Somebody clipped together a bunch of journalists and news clips, journalists, especially like on the ground, boots on the ground, journalists interviewing a bunch of people. So I figured maybe we could watch that too, because that would give you, in my opinion, a more objective viewpoint because you're seeing live at the time what other people were seeing. The documentary can present whatever they want and they can get people to say whatever they want. But the news clips themselves, I think, are just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the documentary. So that's what I want to cover today. I'm just waiting, hopefully, for Wicked to jump on here with me. Because again, I would like another person's feedback. So just hang with me a little bit. And give me a sec. What we can do is we can cover, of course we got a couple things we can cover. So give me one sec. Of course, everybody's talking about the potentially the new Floyd, the guy in the subway. And they're already doing what they did with what was it, Trayvon Martin. You know how instead of showing a picture when he was 17, they showed a picture of him when he was 12. They didn't show him 17 all thugged out with the tats and everything. So in this case, what they're doing with this guy is they're showing him like in 2012 dancing on the subway as a Michael Jackson impersonator, but that's not the case. That's not what he was doing when he was put in a rear naked choke by the Marine and helped by two other men, I think a black dude and a Latino. So you have a rainbow coalition of people trying to defend other people on the subway because Mayor Eric Adams is a fucking pussy. And Governor Hochul and AOC and all those Democrats who run New York just don't care about your safety. You are kulaks. That is what you are. So still waiting for Wicked to jump on. I hope she does. If she doesn't, oh, hang on. Let me see. Got a response. Let me at least pull up these videos. Let me get these started. Some local news. I hope she can jump on. Always love it when we can get always love it if we can get some some another perspective. I'm sure people don't want to hear me talking the whole time. Someone to push back against me. I am white after all, so who better than a woman who's actually lived in a Democrat run city during segregation, Jim Crow? Who better to push back on me, right? All right, let's talk about the assassination. Let's talk about the middle school assassination 3 black kids tried to pull off. Maybe they're black. I don't know. They might be Indian. They have dark skin. Prince George's County. I always find it funny when black people who live in Prince George's County always say how safe their neighborhood is. Oh, really? Press X to doubt. I'm sorry, that's not sharing. Hang on one sec. My mistake. Trying to go back and forth. All right, here we go. So I'm sure you heard about the Michael Jackson impersonator in New York City. And now this is the news story that came out. Now we actually have an assassination attempt by black kids. I'm presuming they're black. They have black skin under their Pusheisty masks. And they're small. But they ran on a bus and tried to kill a middle school kid.
It happened late Monday afternoon on a bus carrying students home from the Prince George's County Alternative Middle School. A 14-year-old boy, attacked by 3 others, rushed aboard at a stop. The attack happening here along Iverson Street. The bus pulling up, stopping. One girl gets off, but the 3 others jump on the bus and immediately pull out that gun.
This was an attempted murder. Plain and simple. Let's call it what it is.
Martin Diggs, head of the bus drivers union, describes a ruthless attack.
Pulled the trigger 3 times, but by the grace of God, the gun didn't go off and bullets flew out of the gun.
Multiple sources confirming the bus's onboard video system recording the whole thing. A point-blank attempt to shoot the middle schooler in the head. And when the gun didn't fire after 3 tries, a physical beating before the attackers ran off.
We are outraged as a district, horrified that this incident.
This happens all the time. Shut the fuck up. You had 50 plus carjackings in August alone. And those are the reported ones. And this is in Prince George's County. This is in an 85 to 90% black suburb where the average median household income is $150,000 to $200,000. That's on the low end. So don't tell me poverty.
Did occur.
Oscar Coleman is associate superintendent of Prince George's schools.
Our priority remains providing a safe and orderly environment for our students, that is during school and also to and from school.
The head of the drivers union wants more security and says the driver aide thought they were going to be killed.
They're terrified. The one driver doesn't want to come back to work. They're terrified.
I mean, do you suspend black kids? Is this one of those woke schools where they say black kids are innocent little puppies and anytime there's a fight, you don't do anything because they didn't do nothing?
They don't even want to come out of the house.
Watch break.
All right, so hang on. Now, of course, you know, hang on. I took a picture. This is so stupid. I have to do this. That news company was caping. They were being mammies for the black teens. There was a video camera on the bus. Don't worry. Big Time got the receipts. I'm so tired. I am so tired of this protected class bullshit. There we go. Tell the fucking truth. God damn. Hey, Wicked.
Hey.
What's
Good
going
morning.
on?
Oh, nothing. I'm listening to you.
Okay. I just, like, so, okay, do you want me to play this video? Then I'll ask you what you think. This video has still shots from the camera on the bus.
Okay.
So that last video didn't show that. You have an assassination attempt of a middle school kid on a bus in Prince George's County. You know how many panels I hear of wealthy black women who say there's no crime in Prince George's County? I got to hear about the white man hunting my kids, and yet I have video evidence of over 100 carjackings happening in their suburb per month last summer. They had to install a curfew and shit like that, and the parents were outraged because the police chief said it's your fucking kids. And all the parents, it's like, all right, well, let me play the video. I'm ready today, baby. I'm ready. I have so much stuff. I hope you had a nice week. I hope you had a nice shift. Thank you for coming on. I have so much stuff to cover. I have so like about the riots. I have so much footage.
Police have released photos of 3 very young suspects who they say forced their way right into a school bus Monday to try and kill a middle schooler.
That gun jammed, though, police said, and then the boys ran. So tonight there's a lookout for.
No, the boy. No. See already. See that already. They're already, like you said, protected class. They probably didn't. They probably had shitty ammo, or the gun was dirty. They didn't clean it, or they just didn't rack a round into the chamber. And when they pulled the trigger 3 times, when that didn't work, they pistol whipped the kid and started beating him right on the bus.
Wow.
So already they lied. Already they fucking lied.
For those boys and a whole lot of fear.
I got to watch Michael Jackson impersonators, the new George Floyd in New York City, right? You heard about that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, that video of him doing Michael Jackson is from
crazy.
2012. He wasn't moonwalking when the white Marine and the black guy and the Latino guy stopped him. And I have a news story that says 2 weeks before he shoved someone on the train tracks and he punched a 60-year-old senior citizen in the face. But now they're charging the white Marine with attempted manslaughter. Anyway, back to the story. This is the same. This is the same thing with Trayvon Martin, with Zimmerman. Remember when they showed a photo of him when he was 12?
Yeah.
He wasn't 17 with the tattoos and the teeth. I don't know if he had gold or platinum.
Yeah, I just saw the pictures of him when he was young. I never saw the pictures of him when he was, older. I just saw like the very young, innocent-looking boy he was.
They did the same thing with Walter Wallace in Philly. And Walter Wallace was the George Floyd of Philly after Floyd. Walter Wallace was the guy who they literally put a picture of him in his prom. He's the guy who was beating his parents and sister, and the police were called 3 times. He's the guy who punched a cop in the face and got 24 months in prison. He's the guy who kicked in the door and sat on a female and put a gun to her head. Wow. And then when the police came, he came out with a fucking giant ass butcher knife. Wow. And I counted for like 50 something seconds. You got 2 white cops, put the knife down, put the knife down, put the knife down. And finally they shoot him. And that's the guy the city went up for. And in the news, they put a photo of him in like his prom in like a tuxedo and a bow tie. It's like, I think people are catching on, but I don't know why this is. I know why this isn't a bigger story. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going. But feel free to jump in whenever.
Hill, where this happened on Monday, to tell us more. Scott?
Well, a measure of the anxiety tonight behind us here. We have Prince George's County Police at this intersection here to protect kids as they...
But I thought police were slave patrols. Police protect us now? I thought the police were racist. I thought the police were hunting black people. Remember LeBron James said we can't even go outside?
They want it both ways. They want to be able to run wild, and they want the police to rein them in when it affects them directly.
I gotta stop. I have so much stuff. I'm so ready. Big time's going to be big time today.
They get off school bus.
You are correct. You don't win.
Late this afternoon. The incident we're talking about happened Monday as a school bus pulled up here at Sutler Drive and Iverson Street, and that's when these 3 kids pushed their way on board with a pistol in hand.
Black kids. I fixed it.
Tonight, Prince George's County Police here to protect kids as they get off the bus.
Oh, now the police protect kids.
As pictures of 3 juveniles were released by authorities. The boys boarding that school bus.
There's more stills.
Monday and pushing past the bus driver and an aide on board. 1 juvenile.
There. Look how small his legs are.
He looks young.
How old is this? Middle school. So what?
Mhm.
11? 12?
Something like that. No older than 13.
Wearing a Goosebumps. He's fucking wearing a Goosebumps sweatshirt. Goosebumps came out when I was a kid.
Carrying a semi-automatic pistol. According to police, the gunman put the gun to the chest of a middle schooler and repeatedly tried to shoot, but the gun was jammed. So the gunman used it to beat the victim, who survived with cuts and bruises.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute.
Forced their way right into a school bus Monday to try and kill a middle schooler.
That gun jammed, though, police said, and then the boys ran. So tonight.
Oh, wait. So in your own news clip, we got two separate stories. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
What the?
And repeatedly tried to shoot, but the gun was jammed. So the gunman used it to beat the victim, who survived with cuts and bruises. Police say the attackers then ran. This grandmother.
Did you see that? Oh, the joke's right. A future astronaut.
Not him.
We was gangs and shit. We went to the moon. Did you know Egyptians built the first spaceship? Oh shit. I'm sorry, Wicked. If this offends you, hey, you tell me.
This
Look, when it offends me, I will say something. I don't hold back.
And that's exactly why you're the perfect co-host, to rein in this racist white person. Push back. You let Big Time know. He ain't Big Time. He's
said she lives in the neighborhood.
I'm just not understanding how these kids getting guns and stuff.
What do you think about that?
I don't know nothing about nothing.
I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, you know what? Where do they get the guns? Where do they get the money for the guns? Because these are kids.
Yeah. And again, like Pennsylvania is now trying to pass a red flag law, which I hope doesn't pass. But it's like the black community doesn't snitch, remember? So the red flag laws won't work.
You're right.
So again, look, like I said, I'm not for or against police. I'm for people. All right. I say hello and I thank the SROs that defend my children at the daycare. They have SROs at the daycare. They're armed. And every day I see them, I say, thank you for what you do. Thank you for defending my children. Because if anything ever happens, they're going to be the first target.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for someone to say we don't need police, they're fucking insane. But I'm also gonna play the black card, which is police have to be reined in. That you can't have this group of people that has so much fucking ability and so much authority to destroy your life that there's no way to keep them in check. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody needs checks and balances. It doesn't matter what the profession is.
Right. I think every cop should have a camera. That doesn't bother me. Every altercation should have a camera. That doesn't bother me at all. If you're on the public dime, we as the people should be able to know what the fuck is going on.
Especially when you have people's lives in your hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I have a Chicago video next. Don't worry. And then I got the big reveal today. Oh boy.
Okay.
Fear for these children.
I fear for the kids and us as well. Because what if a dad would have stepped in and tried to stop it and the gun didn't jam?
Both the bus driver and the aide on board during the incident are so terrorized they've taken leave, according to fellow driver Martin Diggs, who's president of the union local representing drivers.
But they're afraid to come out of the house because the suspects that got on the bus, their faces were covered. So they don't know who these people are. This particular issue that
Oh, did he say these people? Oh.
Happened on the school bus is one incident of many incidents.
Diggs said school employees are constantly threatened with injury because of an epidemic of fighting on buses and in schools. Diggs said the student who...
But I thought poverty was the reason for crime. This is Prince George's County. This is an 85 to 90% black wealthy suburb where the average median income, household income, is on the low end, $150,000 to $200,000.
You know, but they did a study last year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for these black boys if they come from affluent homes or not. The mindset is still the same.
I would argue that because they come from wealth, they have to try harder to show how hard they are, because they want to show they're not soft, right?
Maybe, you know what? Yeah, I believe so, because I used to live in a very, very wealthy suburb. And when my son was a certain age, he had an incident with another boy, a black boy who lived in the same suburb, who used to go above and beyond to prove how he was hard.
Sounds like survivor's guilt.
Hmm.
Like he's ashamed his parents escaped.
Right. He's living in a gated community, but he's hard. Okay.
I mean, I have something on that too.
Who was targeted attended the non-traditional middle school program at Edgar Allan Poe School in Suitland. Diggs noted the school system has cameras in the majority of its bus fleet.
Now, why isn't this world national news?
They do not want to talk about these. They do not want to talk about these men. They do not want to talk about their progeny. They do not want to talk about the state of the black community without this whole victimization, like, ideology.
I mean, the real victims here were the kid, and I would say the bus driver. I know the bus driver wasn't beaten, but he was in proximity where, and I agree with that. I agree with that woman, the black woman, the grandmother. Had he tried to step in, or let's flip it. Let's say the bus driver pulled out a gun and shot this little terrorist. Doesn't bother me. If I was on the jury, I wouldn't convict him. Hey, you're a hero, but everyone would be marching for this kid, right?
Yes, they would.
Jesus.
Just like they're doing for that guy in New York who was terrorizing the train. The Marine jumped in, I guess choked them out, and now they put this guy up like, he's just a poor innocent man with no home, and that's the reason why he was acting like that.
Right.
That was the narrative.
And did you see somebody pointed this out when they showed the video cam footage of the Latino and the black guy moving his arms so he couldn't fight the white Marine? Like, they were all helping to restrain this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing that. I like seeing people come together to defend others. I don't. Yeah. If you want to call that a Christian thing, that's fine. But yeah, look, like at some point we all got to work together to do something. And if
either that or mayhem is just going to rule our streets.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody pointed out that on the I think it was MSNBC, when they showed that cell phone video, they pumped up the gamma on the video to lighten the skin of the black and the Latino.
Really?
It's reaching an insane point. But here, okay, so I'm sure that's enough of this one. Let me I also have a local thing that happened in Chicago. Oh, sorry.
Is it about our 18 and 21-year-old armed truck drivers?
No. But if you want me to cover that too. No, but if you want me to do that. No, this one.
Okay. This
is your people being betrayed. I mean, my people too, but
with instant.
I find it strange that blacks will still vote for Democrat, even though they're now creating a new subclass. Now the blacks are being replaced.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? This is all you. You Chicago. I mean, anything's you at any time. But
But people who live in that neighborhood made it very clear how they feel.
For city leaders who came looking for a conversation over opening the doors of a shuttered South Shore high school to migrants.
What's important is that we
But we can't open it to the kids, right?
really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis, and we're here.
South Shore residents responded with resounding rejection.
While this crisis may constitute an emergency for the city of Chicago, it does not constitute an emergency for the South Shore community.
Incoming migrants have overwhelmed district police stations by the hundreds.
Now look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I love this too. This to me is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. No guns for you, but hey, when you call us, we're not allowed to do anything. Look at this.
We're full. Chicago is full. We're packed with immigrants.
It is not America's job to save the world. It is America's job to save America. America first. I wish white people were like these blacks. I mean, we get labeled a terrorist organization if we do something like this. It couldn't just be white people. It would have to be like other white adjacents, like Asians or Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying, like if Pennsylvania ever got a militia, it would have to be a multicolor militia. There's no way it could be all white. I just like what do you think about what
do I think about? This is my city. I see it. I see it. Okay. I see what they're doing. The schools that Rahm Emanuel closed down like a few administrations ago. Now they want to they've already opened one up for immigrants to stay there. Now they're going to open up another one for immigrants to stay there. And they're not consulting the neighborhoods. They're just bringing in hundreds and hundreds of people that are going to be in the neighborhoods, very, very poor. And the neighborhoods are not fantastic to begin with. But I notice where they're putting them. They're putting them in Black neighborhoods. They're not even putting them in Latino neighborhoods. Now, don't forget, Chicago is very, very segregated.
Yeah, it's like 30%, 30%, 30%.
Right.
33.
And pretty much everybody lives on their own side, except for a few neighborhoods.
I think this is the reason they tried to pass the assault weapons ban. I think they're trying to do the same thing like they do all over Europe. They don't want you to be able to defend yourself. Like in Denmark, you can't use mace. In France, there were 4 guys who broke into a farmer's house, and it was just an old farmer and his 3-year-old daughter. And he shot one of the migrants, one of the illegals, and the Macron put him in prison. He said, you're not going to defend yourself, but this isn't the Wild West. Meanwhile, Macron drives around with 10 armed security guards. They actually go ahead.
No, because those politicians like that, they're above the fray. So it doesn't matter if they pass whatever laws. They live by a different law.
Yeah, somebody said something I like. It's no longer hypocritical, it's hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I knew deep in my heart, like 5 years ago, what was happening in London was going to happen here. I just didn't expect it to happen so fast, So.
Well, have you seen the pictures of people down at the border?
Yeah, they're ready.
It's crazy. And what's going on in El Paso? It's crazy.
Tell you what, let me go through this and then I'll propose my idea to you, what I have.
Okay.
district police stations by the hundreds.
It's my turn. It's my turn. Hello.
But city leaders could barely eke out a word of the details about a proposed respite center. The former South Shore.
How could you
That sounds very xenophobic. Isn't this the Black and Brown Coalition? I thought Black and brown people could live in peace and harmony, and it was white people who were evil and caused all the evil all around the world. Why don't these Black people want Latinos in their neighborhood? Aren't they just going to work together in peace and harmony?
I know that now.
Police department will put 24/7.
Oh, we like the police now. Holy shit.
24/7.
Don't arrest our kids, but those Latinos.
Right.
Officers at that location.
Those are exactly the kind of services Southside.
Oh, cool. So I can drop off my kid with guns, right? You're going to remove those stupid gun-free signs from my school? No gun zones. What about the SROs? Well, they're different. They're special. Oh, okay.
Residents say they begged for and been denied.
Every homeless immigrant that you bring in, that you scoop up one of the homeless individuals in our community, I think that would be fair.
So what you think?
You know, I understand what the everybody is saying on the South Side. You know, you're bringing in all of these people who, you know, who have been shipped here. You know, and but we have homeless people here in Chicago. I live within walking distance of a park that has a bunch of homeless people in their tents. And actually, and I think that somebody is giving out tents because there is a neighborhood where they're full of tents and they're all the same brand.
Yeah.
You know, so
Interesting.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised there's some charity or some NGO. I'm not surprised at all. They actually got it. They actually got something. There was a kid who confessed on Twitter. I was trying to find it. Who said they were paid to protest in the subway yesterday in New York?
I don't doubt that.
Sounds like a crisis actor to me. All right. Let's do the big thing today. So here's what I found. I have so much stuff. So I was thinking it this way. We were going to talk about the 92 riots and cover the documentary Clash of Colors, right?
Right.
How about before we watch that? I mean, this is my channel. This is indefinite, whatever you want to do. And if not, we can do something else. That's fine. I found an hour and 20 minutes of live footage somebody clipped together. Would you want to watch that and talk about that first before we watch the documentary?
Yeah, let's do that.
My opinion is
I'm here for it.
If we're watching the documentary is kind of a hand job to the Koreans, but there are a lot of other educated people, Black, Asian, Jewish, white. There are even council members, like Latino and white council members, who are speaking about it. So they tried to make it's more objective, I think, than something made today. But I think if we watch these live feed, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
This is all live coverage from the riots. All live coverage. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
And we can stop it whenever, we can do whatever, but I figured this would be a little more objective than the documentary, because we're just going to see what we see, and it's no one talking to us, telling us what you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Right across the street from the campus of USC. You can see some of the devastation in this area. The rubble is just, you know, we keep saying it over and over again, but it looks like a bomb has hit the area. But that's just the best way to describe it. It's exactly what it looks like. This is right across the street from USC, and many of the residents here are upset about what's happening. They're having a debate about what has happened, the community reaction to it. Ma'am, we were talking to you a moment ago. What's your reaction to all that's happened since the Rodney King?
Let's make this fun. What do you think she's going to say?
You know what? Let's see what she's going to say.
Okay. And again, we'll stop it whenever. I'm going to stop it whenever. You just you know.
Okay.
It's a shame because they had all this on tape. They saw the way Rodney King was beaten. His car did not go over 80 miles.
That's a lie.
They really beat him. And it's a shame the way they let Powers walk out of there laughing and smiling and know that it was wrong. And it's a shame the way they are acting towards us. And plus, they got to stop tearing up our neighborhood and let's stick together. We got to pull through this. Stop burning our town down and let's pull through this.
Now, do you think she just did like a little? She said they're terrorizing us, and then she said they got to stop tearing down our neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
she's making it seem like they're people coming from the outside. They're tearing up their own neighborhoods. That's who the there are.
Okay. Did you catch that? It seemed
Mm-hmm.
like she blaming the cops, and they did beat him. I'm not saying they didn't, but I have the original video. I have the unedited video from Rodney King. I also have the unedited video from Latasha Harlins. I've been busy.
Let's go to Parker Center and march. We're not going to resolve this problem by burning up everything. We got to live around here. We got to eat. So where are we going to go now? Let's go down to Parker Center and march.
That's true. All of it needs to stop. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I know the government or whatever.
One at a time.
Stop the violence. Let me talk. I know that the government, whatever, can't stand us black people. He's doing everything in the world to make black man be extinct. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Us black people going to survive. Yeah. Now, it's wrong about the black people tearing up burning down buildings. That's wrong. But still, through it all, we going to survive. So fuck everybody. I'm off.
All right, well, that's just an example of the frustration that's being felt here right across the street.
A cracked rib, 7 stitches above his right eye, a bashed-in nose, cuts and bruises all over. You are
White supremacy at its finest, right?
looking at a victim of a mob scene yesterday. You were on a
I don't want to be racist. Please kill me.
delivery route yesterday that took you to Florence and Normandy. What happened, Larry?
Oh, the only thing I know is people start throwing bottles at the windows, broke it, and the next thing I knew, they threw me out of the truck, threw me on the ground, and started kicking me.
Thoughts?
Because that's what happens. That's what happens. Some innocent guy's going about his business, driving along, and you can tell this guy's not like some member of the elite class. He's some working class white man driving a truck and gets the hell beat out of him because they want to take their frustrations out on somebody. And he's got like the right skin color. But you cannot talk about the crime that black people commit against white people, and it's on the upswing.
Yeah, you're right. I got that Oakland beating too.
Yeah, it's on the upswing. I just read a whole article about it.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
Was there any chance to escape?
No. Not whatsoever.
Could you even fight back?
No. They were bigger than I am.
Any idea how long this beating lasted? I mean, look at your body. You've got bruises over your legs. You said you have cuts on your hip, your face. You've got a knot behind your head. Do you know how long this attack took place?
No, I do not. I have no idea. I lost all track of time at the time.
He's lucky to be alive.
I wasn't
Yeah. Now tell me again why I shouldn't carry in my car.
thinking about nothing, just trying to just cover up and try to keep from getting hit so much.
Do you know why you were?
No, I do not.
And you didn't even know this trouble was going on. You weren't listening to the radio. You hadn't seen television.
I don't have a radio in that truck, so I had no idea.
He said the N-word. That's why they killed him. That's the common defense, right?
What was going on or nothing.
You just drove
Why'd you beat this guy? Oh, he said the N-word. I had to.
right into a mob scene.
That's right. That's all I did.
Well, thanks, Larry. In addition,
Are they not Asian-owned businesses throughout that corridor?
I think most are, Harold. I think most are either Korean or Filipino, although there are a lot of Arabs that live in this area and a lot of Latins, too. So this is a very mixed neighborhood. And this is, you can see these two clowns behind the gentleman we're talking to. I mean, this is, they think a lot about what happened to Rodney King. I mean, that's the last thing on their mind. This is party time out here. This is rock and roll in L.A., and they're going from one store to the other. Now, you watched what happened. You've been trying to protect your store so far successfully, but you're just by yourself.
Yes, by myself, I can't do anything. The security gentlemen that were here, there were 3 of them. They said, hey, we got to go because we can't control it. As soon as one squad car comes in here, that seems like that has an effect on it. Right now, just as we talk, behind you, the police are over here, and they're going back into the stores.
So they're back where they started a little while ago. The police moved them. They went over here. They attacked that store. Now they're back on this side. Now, just a minute ago, before they moved across the street, we were taping as a couple of guys came out. I mean, there were hundreds coming out with lots of goods and everything. But we called a couple of the looters over and asked them some questions about it, and there were a lot of bystanders that weren't happy about their answers. Let's play that tape.
Okay, here we go.
You don't grab the microphone. You don't grab the camera. Back up. Okay, now you just got this stuff out of there?
No, he found it right outside. Somebody else.
It's just laying around. And why do you do this?
Oh, I didn't do anything. Because they said, I was walking down the street, really not wanting to be a part of anything. And all this.
So this guy got caught stealing.
Okay. He was walking down the street and this stuff jumped into his hands.
Shit.
Just
Just like the crack and the guns, right? One day they just appeared in the community.
Just magically appeared.
Yeah.
It magically sold itself because it wasn't all those black guys I saw. It was just magic.
You know, in Chicago, these guns just showed up.
Well, according to what these guys are saying, the CIA, I guess, just popped their trunks and passed them out in the neighborhoods.
Hang on. We got to do this. You know John Singleton?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a pause. That talking about they were just brought into the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's hang on. Remember the scene? I got to be careful. I don't want to get popped. It's
the 90s. Can't afford to be afraid of our own people anymore.
I can't play it very long.
There. See what it says? Cash for your home. You know what that is? Move all the people out, raise the property value, and sell it at a profit. Now,
What we need to do is we need to keep everything in our city black.
like the Jews, the Italians, the Mexicans, and the Koreans. But we are not the people who are flying and floating that shit in here. I know
There.
how you think the crack rock gets into the country. We don't own any planes. We don't own no ships. But we are not the people who are flying and floating that shit in here.
What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? No, they're not, but they certainly took advantage of it, didn't they? They figured out a way that they can make a profit on it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember. I'm sorry, but I lived through those times in Chicago. I used to pass up the projects. I used to run through those neighborhoods. I never saw any white people out on the corner slinging dope.
Are you talking about like Cabrini Green?
I'm talking about Cabrini Green, Robert Taylor Homes, all of that.
Yeah, that's right. You can. Yeah, we still gotta cover the Cabrini Green. I found footage of Cabrini Green. I found footage of that too. That's actually on YouTube. I didn't have to go to like another. Well, anyway, I'll keep going.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's it, huh? That's it? Let me have a word. How you doing? I never went in the store. I never went to beat that black man's butt and let the people go. What if it was you? What if it was you? Let me ask you. What if it was you?
I don't like. I think this white guy is way too calm and comfortable touching people, and I hate it when people do that when they wave their fingers at me. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. I was a waiter for a long time, and that's just a thing that irks the shit out of me, you know?
Okay, I got it. What if it was you? What if you got beat like that? Kid got beat, and so you don't steal anything out of any steal? They let him go. How come they don't let all these thieves go? They let them go. What's the difference?
So he's saying because they let them, so they let them go. What's the difference? So because they're not stopping me, it's okay. Is that what I'm hearing?
Basically, yeah. Because I can, I'm doing it. Because I can get away with it.
Pass. Look at the what? Like, look at this white. Like, look at these white people trying to.
Don't call me brother if you don't mean it. Baby, this is as long as you love me, as long as you are part of my life, you are my sister, you are my brother. You still my brother, fuck you.
What do you think about what she said?
What did she say? Long as you're my sister, long
As
you're
long
my
as long as you're a part of my life, you are my brother, you are my sister. The egalitarian. The that could be the Christ. That could be a religious perspective. That could just be a human perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I'm just, she said I think she's kind of saying we're all human.
Right. And we are, but I don't know. Some of them I doubt it. I don't know. Some of them I don't think they all the way there with the rest of us.
Wicked player pressing X to doubt.
I think that some of them are not evolved like the rest of us.
Yeah.
We gotta run. Gene Gleason reporting live back to you. And there is looting going on. Police cars going by, and they're not stopping. What's the situation here? The situation is y'all respect us, and we respect you. And till then, fuck you. Let me tell you something. Yeah. Apparently, this looting has been going on all night and into today. Is that right?
Yeah, and you know damn well.
Whoa.
You know what's fair for y'all to do right and thing like that.
The situation here is that it's basically uncontrolled. The police have been going by, and they have kept on moving. And we're going to throw it back to the studio.
All right, perhaps Burns? Yeah, this is Bonds on Vermont and 3rd, and I didn't know everybody was just running really crazy, and everybody was running inside the store. And we followed them, we followed everybody in, and I guess, well, the pictures really tell you what happened.
What was the reaction of these people to you shooting their pictures?
It was, excuse me, can you get out of the way here? I'm trying to do something.
Nobody really cared.
No, not at all.
Nobody minded having themselves identified, their faces shown.
No.
No. That's what we've seen all day long. Same thing, looting going on with impunity. Nobody really worried about being caught, seen.
What are they getting? The liquor trays here, and
yeah, they cigarettes, liquor.
It's a free for all.
Yeah, there's a guy shot at the end where he's disturbed.
Yeah. I figured. Did it make sense that maybe we watch this first before we watch the documentary?
Yeah.
That way we get an idea of seeing what it was actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because a large portion of the documentary is people talking, and that's cool. But I trust my own eyes too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yours. You know what I mean?
The meat fell out of his bag.
One of the awful things that's been happening, liquor stores have been looted an awful lot. People drink that liquor. That inflames the situation.
Rodney King died. Let's get some malt liquor. let's
Basically.
let's let's get
Let's
some.
go steal a TV.
Let's get some. This guy died. Let me get some Jim Beam. What the fuck?
Immeasurably. Have you been seeing people drinking?
Yeah, I've got a few shots of them last night when they're drinking and busting into the liquor stores. And
Look at this frenzy. Now, did you get any sense at all that these people were concerned one iota about the Rodney
These people.
King verdict?
No, not at all.
That's what it is. These people.
The first pictures appeared to be a video store or warehouse store.
This is the store that was owned by the Korean woman who said, angry? Who am I angry at? Who's to blame? This is the looting of her store and other stores in that region, taking whatever they could carry.
People walking out with food, drinks.
So when is this going to happen in Chicago?
Hopefully never. We've had enough. We've had enough. We've had enough riots. We have places in Chicago that never recovered from the 1968 riots.
You mean Detroit? I'm just kidding.
You know, when King died, they tore up the West Side, and it's never been rebuilt.
But they have the money to rebuild schools for immigrants. Right. It's all.
And that's the frustration level. Like, oh, where did this money come from? Because I thought we didn't have any money.
The federal government. That's all federal money.
We got money for Ukraine, but we don't have money for the schools.
Right.
Okay.
Well, doing math is racist. That's white supremacy.
Oh, yeah.
I always like to ask people, I go, 1 + 1 is 2, right? They go, yeah. I go, okay, where in that equation does my kid have to learn about butt sex? You know?
It's the dummying down of America, and it's the distraction of Americans from the important things that are going on. Let's concentrate on pronouns, not the fact that these kids are half-ass illiterate.
Yeah. Well, if they're not educated, they have to depend on the government, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, then you have this nice permanent underclass that you can manipulate and have them do what you want.
Oh, kind of like the secret enforcers of society.
You know, that's why, what did Trump say? He likes the poorly educated. They all like the poorly educated. And that's the reason why the school systems are trash.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And as we said, blacks, whites, men, women, old, young.
And just for some numbers, there were over 2,000 arrests. 40-something% were black and 50-something% were Latino. And then something like 5 or 6% of those arrests were white, and something like 3% were like Korean or Asian. So, I mean, only 2,000 people, but all of South Central was fucking, just doing this shit.
What the police are calling the crime of opportunity.
Store now, and these people have been driving in throughout the afternoon.
These people.
And they are looting. They are running around freely in and out of the stores, taking what they want. And Captain Ron has come online. Welcome aboard, Captain Ron. You've been over the scene. We've been watching this throughout the afternoon. It's unabated. And do you see any police presence?
No, I don't, Harold, and thanks a lot. It's great to be back. I just arrived on this scene, and when I arrived, I thought that we had a fire on the north end, and then I thought this was routine shopping traffic for Fedco with all the cars out here, and just a closer look, and I realized that people are running around, and they're actually stealing out of the stores. Absolutely unbelievable to me as I watch this scene below me.
Well, it is unbelievable, and we heard the mayor of Compton say that his city is clamping down, and they are going to put a stop to this. We understand right now that the National Guard is being deployed in Southern California in conjunction with the CHP and the LAPD. And obviously their total effort will be to curtail this kind of thing. Christine, you said it early on this afternoon that this is feeding on itself now. You've got people coming down there, men, women, some of them even bringing their children in their cars. It's almost like they're on a shopping spree.
It really
They
is,
are.
Harold. It's just hard to imagine this is going on.
They are? Is that what you said?
They are on a shopping spree.
I think they interview a mom and her kid in a second.
And you mentioned the National Guard. I've been listening on some of the aircraft radios, and there are reports that the National Guard is now deploying just south of the Coliseum. And once we get done covering this, we can head out that way and see if we can see some of the first deployment of that National Guard.
We watched this looting at this shopping mall. I want to stress a couple of things that have happened. Two very sad things among all of the fires that are breaking out, and they're just breaking out like a virus all over the area affected.
Like a virus.
Two key places have burned.
I'm just saying things that have been used against other groups for assault for insinuating some sort of racism or xenophobia when referring to a group.
Mark Ridley Thomas's own field office is burned right down to the ground. There's not a bit of it left. Mark Ridley Thomas's city council field office in South Central Los Angeles burned. Also, a city library branch has been burned down to the ground. There is nothing left of it, and that is particularly sad, not only the loss of the books and what it means to the community, it's also a historical landmark. It's gone.
And the people just walked in. The security guards gave up. Store said, that's it. We're getting out of here. And the people just walked in, some with shopping carts. They turned the sprinkler system on, we're told, so that the store could not be torched. They wanted to keep everything wet. At one point, we had a small problem, and we won't necessarily show you that, but one gentleman came up and tried to take...
Now, that's what happened at the Walmart in Buffalo when they looted the Walmart in Buffalo during Christmas, the weekend of Christmas. Remember that? The blacks in Buffalo were looting, and some Arabs showed up with like shotguns, and they actually opened fire. I think they fired in the air. They weren't actually...
Good for them. Good.
And the blacks were, and I have the video. The blacks were surprised, like, "Oh, they shooting!" It's like, yeah, they don't have any guilt.
Take the camera away from photographer Dave Bussey, and we had to retreat out of the store at that point. There was absolutely no fear of our being there, and just maybe 25, 30 feet away, there were a number of LAPD officers who were just watching. They were helpless. Different. Some people walked out with a shopping cart full of soap. Others took liquor. Others took tape. You name it, they had it. And the parking lot was just full of cars. There were hundreds of people.
What do you think of this?
Look at that. And then they get upset when people are like, "Oh my God, these people are like animals."
Oh, may I just say, with the way politics are, I'm so happy you're here to say that because that would get me in so much trouble. Is this a kid?
Yeah.
Is a kid?
It's a kid.
All right.
There were hundreds of people there.
That's a child.
And nobody seemed to care much about it. They most of them were laughing and joking with us. And again, we told you about this earlier. Many
It's
of these
another
folks brought their
kid.
kids with
Yeah.
them. And no one can quite understand what kind of a lesson that is meant to be for them. Folks were not at all reluctant to
There's another girl. Is that a girl?
Yeah.
talk with us. Many of them did. In fact, one woman who came out with a shopping cart full of groceries was more than willing to talk to us. And she unloaded all. She told us that, yeah, she didn't think she was stealing anything, that it was there to be taken, and somebody was going to take it, so it might as well be her. We're losing our picture now. Again, we're the damage inside and out. Young people of all ages, teenagers. You wondered about the people there in their 30s and 40s and 50s that were going in there, bringing out cartons of food and other foodstuffs and supplies.
Joe, you get the feeling.
Yeah.
So do you think they were just told to not do anything?
Yes. I think they were told to just let it run its course. Look at that. Look, that is crazy. That is utter chaos.
And they're white, right? Aren't they colonizers? Don't they have the power of the government behind them and white supremacy and white people? If you tell a black person, there you go, yes sir, yes sir, yes man, like that's all bullshit, right? Or is it just in this one instance?
You know, like I'm looking at the cops, and I know the cops were told basically to stand down.
Yeah.
You know, they were told to stand down and pretty much let this run its course because they were overwhelmed.
Yeah, but the military had to come in. I have George Bush Sr. talking to the Korean community on video. I have that. I got a picture of the fucking Marines on the highway sitting on tanks. This would have never stopped if the military hadn't shown up.
Of course not. They would have burned it to the ground.
Yo, I appreciate you watching this with me because I watch shit like this and I find it like fascinating and depressing at the same time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Try to like learn from it. You know, like when AOC or like Lena Wen on CNN said we need to put people in camps. Those type of people to me terrify me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I actually had a girl at the local community college tell me there's nothing wrong with camps, putting people in camps. So I asked her, I said, do you know who Paul Potts is? And she said, no. I said, so I showed her some of the mass graves in Cambodia
Mm-hmm.
because he was a Marxist, Leninist, communist. And I said, do you know what all places that have camps have in common? And then she said I was being misogynistic. I was making her feel unsafe. And then of course she ran away from me. Anyway.
Ooh, this generation.
Camps are good things. You are stupid.
See, this is not summer camp, honey, we're talking about.
Right. When I am terrified, that terrifies me when people say camps are good. I'm like, oh, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Feel it's their right to participate in this kind of looting and lawlessness?
That was the problem. We mentioned that last time, Harold. They think because of the Rodney King decision that they're not getting a fair shake, and this is their way of showing the system that they're going to get back. And here we have the lady with the shopping cart. She talked to us about what she took and why.
Cheese, some bologna, different things like that. Things for my kids, my godkids. Well, the police are not doing nothing. If they wanted to stop us, they would have stopped us already.
What would you
She said the same thing the other guy said, right?
consider what you did? Did you say it was stealing?
No. No, I don't consider it stealing because if it was wrong, they would have stopped us. You know?
Said it again.
All this wouldn't have happened if they would have done us right. That's all I got to say.
What's your name?
Sharon Tillman.
She knows all their
Sharon.
She told her name?
She told her name.
Sharon Tillman?
Mhm.
Something like
Help me with this stuff.
Total lack of morality involved here, a total sense of right from wrong.
For good looting, but I would certainly have to agree with him that was the worst case of it that I had seen. We were saying earlier that, boy, if we could only see some sign of the National Guard, if only we could see some sign of enhanced police authorities' response to all of the mayhem and chaos that we've seen. And there it is, our first look at it. And Captain Ron, you said it was there. You were showing it to us. Can you talk to us about it a little bit,
Now, one of those injured
that building, and in some cases then turned around and threw the bottles at cars that were passing by.
Then they crossed the street and looted a gas station and a sort of anti-goggling across the street and an auto parts repair store, which they set on fire. It was an awful 40 minutes or so watching that intersection.
Because that is where the most graphic, aside from the fires, the horrible fires we've been watching all night. But the bullets took.
All right, now that's Reginald Denny.
Okay.
That's the guy who sued the city because that's another white trucker who got dragged out of his truck and practically almost beaten to death. But in court, he cucked the lawyers who represented the 4 black men who beat him, slavery and oppression, and he cucked and he hugged them. He was made to feel, I don't know, some sort of guilt. And it's like, you know, sometimes I hate my people.
Place at that intersection because that's where people were dragged out of their cars. That one man that we saw lying on the ground next to the big 18-wheel truck was just dragged out, kicked, stomped, and in the case of the man with
Am I still on YouTube? Yeah, I'm still on YouTube. Usually this shit gets your channel taken right
the
off.
semi-truck, somebody finally came over and relieved him of his wallet as he lay there. He is in.
Like, look at that.
Like ghouls.
When you tell other black people or your family that you sent your son to El Salvador, do they call you crazy or do they ask you why?
Oh, sure. I've been questioned on it.
Do you mind sharing like
Well, you know what? Anybody who knows me knows I'm very clear on my morals. And I said it. I don't want my child growing up in this environment and incorporating this garbage behavior into his psyche. I don't want him believing in this lack of morality. I deliberately took my child out of this culture and put him in another culture.
Man, I'm stupid. I don't know exactly where I'm actually looking up El Salvador. I'm actually looking it up on a map. I'm listening. I'm just looking it up on the map to get a better.
And that's what I did because I did not want my child to be a part of this nonsense. I recognize the toxicity in a lot of Black culture. I recognize the toxicity of a lot of Black men and a lot of Black women too. Let me not leave the mammies out.
No problem.
I did not want my child to identify with that. I wanted my child's basic identity to be his father's culture. Not that I think the El Salvadorians are saints, but I didn't think it was the garbage behavior that we put up with here, and call it a part of Black culture.
Right.
No. I chose differently for me and mine. And I don't care, there's a thing in the Black community. They just believe it's us against everybody. No. You're not going to suck me in like that into like this false sense of loyalty. Not when the main people who will take advantage of me are other Black people.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that movie with Mel Gibson? It's just basically Braveheart of the American Revolution. He says men with principles don't have families. Right? He says once you have a family, if you really care about them, you do anything for them first over everyone else, even your own people.
That's right. Because who are you going to look at? Who are you going to be more loyal to? Somebody out in the street or your own family?
Right.
People tell me all the time, oh, you're so lucky. You don't have to worry about your son, doing X, Y, and Z. No, because I didn't raise him like that. I didn't raise him to think that this is what you do.
You raised him. You didn't let other people raise him, right?
I raised him along with his father and our family.
Yeah.
I didn't leave my child to the streets. I didn't leave my child to rap videos, music, all of that. I took my son completely out of it.
You mean when you had men coming over every weekend, you didn't kick your son out and tell him to go find something to do so you could have time jumping on that shit log?
You know, I you know
All right, that's some DZ.
you know what? No, DZ is right. DZ is exactly right. I mean, you know what? She calls it for what it is. Sometimes you need that blunt shock treatment because that's what these broads are doing.
Abandoning their kids for dick.
You know what? They're putting dick over their kids. Okay, common sense is out the window. They are such black male worshipers and they are so entrenched in the culture that yeah, some of these women are leaving their kids swinging in the breeze. Because remember, these women are groomed from day one to accept this nonsense. They are told from the very beginning, this is all you can expect. This is all you have to choose from. So they're in the gutter with the guys.
Yeah. That's insane.
It is. But it is what it is.
Let's keep going.
Very critical condition.
Just rolled up here. We're at Western Avenue and 18th Street. Radio Shack burning behind us. That was what attracted our attention. And then we saw this. Come and look over here. Across the street, the Viva Market there. Those people are not shoppers. They are looters. They are grabbing whatever they can grab. I saw a man walking down the street just a little bit ago with an armful of diapers, and the looting hasn't stopped. Okay, look, over there, Gary. J.J. Newberry, somebody just threw a firebomb in there. It is now burning. J.J. Newberry burning here at the corner of Western and 18th Street in South Central Los Angeles. Black smoke pouring out of that area now. Two people running away. We don't know if they're the...
All right, I'll tell you what. You want me to take a pause here, and do you want me to start the documentary a little bit, just for a switch?
Okay.
I know this can get a little dry. There is one thing I wanted to show, though, real fast. This is, I know this ain't positive. So there's a bunch of interviews I do with people, and right after the interviews, they show the I think this is it.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is now on the east.
Santa Monica and Vermont happening along further. That's been looking into virtually every.
These crops, my daughter and grandchildren.
Why are you out here on the street looking at all the smoke? Hearing all...
She said that to back you.
To throw with the shoulders
on the street.
84th. And postal service.
Right here. This scene blew my mind. So do you know what all these people are waiting for?
What?
South Central Los Angeles has been disrupted for the last 3 days. No mail delivery. We're at the Hancock station. The zip code here is 90044. And as you can see, this crowd.
Their welfare.
Crowd stretches 2 blocks and around the corner all the way to Vermont and 84th Street. I would guess conservatively that there probably are several thousand people in line waiting to get either their county welfare check or their social security check. And we're told that that is the only mail that's going to be delivered today. Now, to keep control.
Priorities.
What do you think about that?
Priorities.
So, is it hypocritical for people to say the system doesn't listen to us? The system is against us. The system doesn't help us. But the only mail being delivered are the welfare and Social Security.
Right. The man is putting us down. The man is taking advantage of us. The man is exploiting us. But we still want this money coming from the man.
He interviews 1 or 2 guys, and then I'll start the documentary. I know this can get stale because you're just seeing, but I wanted to show you this. I found this, so I was like,
Full of this
I watched the whole thing the other night. I was like, this is fascinating.
crowd. We have LAPD officers here, some of them armed with shotguns, and we also have postal inspectors, all of them armed
Yeah, it took armed men with guns to keep people in line. Wow, that's crazy, right?
with shotguns just to keep everybody in step here. Now,
I
they're
have no problem with armed women as long as they can handle the long gun. That's fine.
letting people in 3, 4, 5 at a time. They give them their mail, they come out, then another 3 or 4 or 5 people go inside. Now let's go over here and talk to a few folks and see how their lives have been disrupted by not getting their mail, and now they've got to get their checks here. Excuse me, can we talk to you a second? Oh, she doesn't want to talk to us. This lady want to talk to us? Yeah. When was the last time you got mail? Oh, here, okay.
What's the problem here?
When was the last time you got your mail?
Tuesday, Wednesday before it actually happened. It happened Wednesday, and after Wednesday, everything got out of control. And this is nothing but the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, now, how long you been in line?
Since about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And,
See how he cut her off when she started to say that?
Mm-hmm.
You think he did that on purpose to make it seem like the situation's not out of control?
Right, because she was about to spill the beans.
Right.
It hasn't moved yet.
How long do you think it's going to be before you get inside?
9 o'clock tonight.
Damn, bro, just let her talk.
Wait a minute, what's that? Come here.
9 o'clock tonight.
Okay, that would be a conservative. Okay, what'd they say?
They said 10 to 2. Everybody gonna get their mail. It's gonna be about 3 or 4 o'clock tonight before it gets mail.
Now, what are you waiting to get?
I'm waiting to get my check.
Okay, how important is? Do you need that check now?
That's right. I got to feed my baby. Plus, they finna put me out on the street.
Okay.
What do you think about that? What do you think about this scene of the city is being set on fire, but we still got to get our money?
Right, we still got to get our money. We're really upset about everything, but we still want to get our money from the man.
Have you ever seen this? Did you ever see this footage?
No. No.
Did I bring the receipts? Or are you? Is this okay to see? Like, I spent all week trying to find a bunch of shit.
No, because you know what? So much of the news is filtered. We don't see this unless you seek it out.
Yeah, somebody made this. Somebody edited all these clips together, and I just happened to find it. So it's not like I did it. I want to give this person credit.
There you have it. Wait a minute.
Sweetheart,
What's that?
this is already a bad situation, and we are being more exploded because we are acting like animals, and the feeling of the effect is not.
We're having a little dispute here. Needless to say.
Now, did you see what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
She said and then someone got upset at her, and now they're.
Because you cannot tell the truth of the situation. Even in a crisis moment like that, you have to gaslight people as to what is actually happening. Don't believe your eyes. Believe what I tell you. Believe what is politically correct.
Right. Right. All right. You want to start a little the documentary now? Now that you've seen some of the. Okay.
Los Angeles.
The intro is a little fight with the guy talking in the strings, but after that, it's easier to hear people.
In the early 1990s was a burgeoning metropolis.
Volume okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boasting of its diversity as a world city poised to be the gateway of the Pacific, Los Angeles was home to over 100 different ethnicities from all points of the globe. It was perceived to be the international city that was going to lead America into the 21st century. The city had an African-American mayor who had been elected with a rainbow coalition that included blacks, whites, and other ethnic minorities.
So that means everything was okay.
Bradley and his
Paradise
promised Los Angeles prosperity and hope for everyone. However, the city, which had not seen economic downturn for more than 50 years, discovered that it was not immune from the 1990-91 recession, which jolted America with the largest number of bankruptcies in United States history. Under the gleaming skyscrapers that seemingly symbolize the economic prosperity of Los Angeles, the acquittal of the officers charged with the Rodney King beating on April 29, 1992, triggered the largest urban race riots in the history of the United States. In the process, it exposed the racial tensions simmering below the surface that led to
Hey, let's not downplay George Floyd. Hey.
violence, with the victims being targeted on the basis of race. The ensuing violence shattered LA's carefully contrived image as the melting pot for the 21st century. The melting pot had boiled over, resulting in 55 deaths and $1 billion in property damage, close to half of which was suffered by the Korean immigrant community.
2,000 stores.
Wow.
They show a graphic in this documentary. In 1970, right after the Hart-Celler Act, the Koreans from South, I'm assuming they're primarily South Korean. I don't know how North Korea is with people leaving. South Korea is more like the United States, except it's ethnically homogenous. But in 1970, sorry, I go on these little tangents. In 1970, there was under 100 Korean-owned stores, and then in 1990, there were 7,000 Korean-owned stores in Los Angeles alone. So, my thing is, for such a white supremacist country, another group of people came here, and I know this is an oversimplification, but in 20 years, they owned literally a portion of South Central LA,
Mm-hmm.
So, but this documentary does blame the city and blames the banks and blames the leaders. You'll see.
How did Los Angeles get to this? And could it happen again?
This came out in 2012. So before all the
Historically, the late 1980s and early 90s were times of economic transformation worldwide. With the advent of personal computer technology and information technology, the world was becoming smaller and smaller as people from all over the world were interconnected. Politically, the Berlin Wall, which had long symbolized the Iron Curtain, came crumbling down, followed by the dismantling of the Soviet Union, which signaled the demise of communism. Mainland China, with over 1.2 billion people, had opened itself to a market economy, and the rapid industrialization of developing countries around the world created a global economy, which we have come to take for granted today. With rising global competition, the United States was not immune either from the rapid changes that were taking place around the world. Businesses were forced to restructure, and traditional smokestack industries had to be sent abroad, which eliminated the blue-collar jobs that supported millions of the American middle class. California was hardest hit with the plant closings and the U.S. government's defense cuts on which the state's economy had been heavily dependent. Los Angeles, particularly its inner city, a 40-square-mile area known as South Central, took the brunt of the economic recession. This area had historically been known as Watts and was the same place that had experienced the Watts riots in 1965.
The old industrial base of Los Angeles was largely gone. There had been a huge GM plant at Southgate, for instance. Most of the jobs, the industrial manufacturing jobs, which are good blue-collar jobs for people of all color, had pretty much gone away.
The corporations in Los Angeles, to make it very simple, have moved out of Los Angeles. We don't have large corporations. They went to the suburbs, or they went to South Asia or Mexico or Latin America, and they were replaced by non-unionized, lower-wage service jobs.
The fact that African Americans in particular were not beneficiaries of a globalized economy. We're one of the groups that suffered most from community neglect.
What's an urban theorist?
Okay.
What?
The closure
And they don't just interview white people; they interview a bunch of people. UCLA gets a big hand job in this movie too. They interview a lot of people from UCLA.
Traditional industry.
But that's fine. I mean, that's they're from the local university, right?
Right.
The early 1980s.
I'm sorry, state college. My mistake. I don't want to.
80s, you've got an interracial council that has gone and looked at South Los Angeles since the Watts riots. They did a report called McCone Revisited.
I found this report. It's currently behind a paywall. I'm trying to see if I can find it online.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read this report because they talk about this, and nobody, this is about the Watts.
Hardly anybody reported on it, but it was a very, very interesting report, and it told how conditions had really deteriorated. There had been some improvement. There had been some improvement in health. They built a hospital in South Los Angeles, but in housing, in interracial cooperation, and particularly in jobs and poverty, the situation was deteriorating, and it's very, very clear. At the same time, Mayor Bradley, the city fathers, they're focused on making Los Angeles into this world city, which it was becoming. The port, finance, what we can now say, looking back at it, were the harbingers of the high-tech and internet age. All of this is happening.
This city will gladly tackle the recommendations which you've laid out for us. And I'm confident that we will come up with answers that ultimately will project this city as a city which serves as a crossroads of the world.
Right beneath these new gleaming skyscrapers that are being built in the city, there's increasing poverty, increasing racial conflict, and a very serious health and housing problems, and very serious conflicts between the minority community, particularly the African American community, and the police.
Much of the racial tension in Los Angeles over the years, historically, can be blamed on law enforcement, particularly the Los Angeles Police Department, which patrolled South Los Angeles with a minimal police force in a very tough way.
Can I just make one observation?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black cops. LA had a large black cop population. It's not just like New York has the most diverse police department in the country, and LA was right behind them. They had whites, blacks, and Latino cops. So I don't, that's where just pointing out an observation. That's all I'm saying.
As if it was an occupied country. Los Angeles was a highly segregated city. We have to remember this city has a long history of racism.
Because, right?
The parks were segregated. The beaches were segregated in the 40s and the early 50s. The police enforced that segregation. This whole balmy version of Southern California as this sort of nice laid-back place was not true at all.
The shifting demographics were
Anything you want to? Anything?
No, I'm looking.
Okay, you tell me. Again, you're my co-host. You tell me to stop. We'll stop it.
Another important change occurring in Los Angeles, particularly in South Central.
Essentially, there's going to be people who blame the blacks, and then there's going to be people who say the blacks were righteous. There's going to be other people who say they blame the city. There's going to be people who blame the government. So,
an area traditionally concentrated by African Americans.
I had a map in front of me from 1960 of the African American population in Los Angeles County. And I put my hand on top of it. That's the part that we call South Central Los Angeles. It would cover 95% of all African Americans. By the year 1990, 30 years later, it would be much less, probably around 65%. It's one of the things that we already know is during that 20-year period, African Americans had begun to move out of this traditional community out to other parts of the county.
What happened after the Civil Rights Revolution is that it became possible for black people to live not, as whites would like to think, anywhere they chose, but in a lot of places. South Los Angeles spiraled into greater poverty. It had the paradox of removing a lot of the people who were the most stable influences in communities such as Watts, the middle-class people, and particularly the teachers and the doctors and the ministers. This is at a time of sexual liberation. It's a time of family instability, particularly in the African American community. And this phenomena.
I wanted to pause that for a second. Now that's something that you had talked about before, where you said at some point there were black store owners, and you said that all black people had to live together. It wasn't uncommon for doctors to live on the same block with poor people. But then you said at some point, some generation didn't want to take over the stores that their parents owned. And you said at some point, the people who could leave left.
Exactly. All of the stabilizing influences in the neighborhoods that were forced to be there, as soon as the gates of freedom opened, they left. And who did they leave behind? The dregs.
Do you find it funny that this guy said in the exact same sentence, family instability and sexual revolution?
You know what? He's calling it.
But
He's calling it because the families did decline. The families did deteriorate and the debauchery took over.
yeah, I've heard that they didn't start teaching sexual education in schools until the 60s.
I think that's probably right. I think that that may be right, but that has nothing to do with the fact that these people were oh my god, that morality went right out the window. Okay, these people were sleeping with each other like you would not believe. I mean, it was like, okay, yeah, now we're all sexually liberated, so now we don't have to have any morality.
Like Freaknik.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like girls like
And,
girls
and,
growing
I,
like
and I was an adult during that time, and I remember people from Chicago saying they wanted to go down to Atlanta to
Atlanta,
celebrate.
Hotlanta.
Yeah,
Yeah. Shit.
I don't know. Is Atlanta the HIV capital, the Black HIV capital of the United States?
That's what Aaliyah says.
Because I believe it is, and I believe it started with Freaknik.
And syphilis too.
Oh, syphilis, yeah, which is completely out of control. I
And
think
isn't
they
and isn't
said,
curable.
well, I think they said in Mississippi, the syphilis rate has increased 400%. This is among Black people.
Is this at least interesting so far? Do you want to keep watching this?
Yeah, let's watch some more.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Of the black middle class moving out, partly because they were able to move out where they had not been able to move out before, I think was just one more destabilizing factor.
You also had.
Can I make a quick point too?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think is an example of leftism. They're going to point out all these things that are bad for the black community. Like when they say the middle class left and it was a major reason the black community in South Central LA destabilized. Well, wouldn't that be an argument against immigration? If all the doctors in Nigeria left Nigeria and come to America, won't that destroy the medical system in Nigeria?
Well, isn't that what's happening?
Well, we're not getting as
Okay.
as Orange Man said, they're not sending their best.
But you know what? They may not be sending their best, but their best is doing their best to escape their countries. And who's being left behind in Nigeria, in these other countries? The dregs.
So it's just a cycle.
Yeah. This keeps repeating. This is a pattern that keeps repeating. Those who have money, those who have the ability to escape the craziness, do. And who's left? The dregs.
Do you think it's a responsibility of people to stay where they are and try to fix it?
Nope.
You think they have the right to leave?
I think they have a right to leave because my family left. Why, my family left, and I will tell you why. And I keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. My stepfather was getting up every morning to go to work. And how many times did he have to be robbed before he finally said, "That's enough. We out of here. Forget these niggas. We gone."
You said 4 times in 1 month.
Okay. And he said, "That's enough." He bought us a house and moved us to the edge of nowhere. We couldn't even tell anybody we're moving because he said if we tell people we're moving, they're gonna rob us.
That's insane. I
We
told
had
I told
moved in silence.
I told some people in my family that they didn't believe me. They thought I was being racist when I said that.
That
I was
ain't
like,
race,
yeah,
real.
I was like, yeah, I know this. Well, I mean, I tell people stories about how women get attacked on the subway in Philly on the Broad Street line. I would be coming out of Community College of Philadelphia, and you're walking to the subway, you're walking to Broad and Spring Garden, and I'd have like 12 and 13-year-old black kids walking up to all girls of all ages, of all races, and say, "What that mouth do?" And following girls into the subway, spitting and punching girls if they don't give them their number, you know. And it's just something that, like you said, if you've never been there, if you've never lived next to a drug dealer, if you've never seen a drive by, if you've never seen gang members, if you've never seen Asian kids be attacked on the subway by black Muslim girls, you know, it, yeah, I don't know.
Like
I kind of go ahead.
my husband's cousin got the snot beat out of him last summer because he asked this black guy to move his car. He got the snot beat out of him. I'm talking two black guys, just I mean, cracked his uh cracked his cheek,
Mm.
messed him up. This is the nicest man. This is the nicest man. Because he asked one of these guys to move his car, he got a serious beat down. It took him a minute to heal from it. It took him months.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I watch. I don't know if you watch the show. I watch Ak Nation News a lot.
Hmm.
Ak is a Nigerian, um, or he has Nigerian roots. He lived in D.C. Now he lives somewhere in Pennsylvania, and his show is just basically he just covers black crime. His entire show is just news clips, and people come on the panel and talk. And it's funny how people used to come on his show and try to argue with him, but they don't. But those people don't come in anymore. Instead, what people try to do is they try to porn bomb his show.
Hmm. Because they do not want the truth known. They don't want to know. They don't want it known how deep and disgusting it goes.
Yeah. Well, here I'll keep going.
Yeah.
I got to like 11ish. Oh,
The Latino immigrants who have been coming into the area and Latino population who for many years started on the east side of the county, began to move south in the southwest direction. At the same time, the Asian population had begun to concentrate itself. We've had Chinatown for a long time, but there really were no other major concentrations. But Koreatown started about this era to emerge.
Yeah, I mean, I went away to Washington in 1975, and when I came back in 1978, suddenly there was Koreatown. I was really amazed.
It started out with some commercial enterprises on Olympic and on People Boulevard.
is it okay with you when another group creates a little part of the place they left?
Why would I mind that?
Oh, I'm just asking. As long as they're paying taxes and contribute to society, you're cool with that?
Yeah, you look, I am not one of those people we have to like distribute everybody equally across town. If you want to hang around with your people, what's wrong with that?
Freedom of association.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
see anything wrong with that. Aren't we Americans? Don't we have the ability to associate with who we want to associate with?
No, we don't.
Well,
How many?
that's true. It is tempered.
Are there going to be illegal immigrants and trans people in your schools in Chicago pretty soon?
We got them right now. What are you talking about? In the Chicago public school system, Mayor Lightfoot just said that you can go to any bathroom you want in the school.
So you don't
You
have
can
freedom
go
of
to
association.
hmm?
So we
No,
don't have.
no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah. So it's this. So it's the busing all over again.
You know, at this point, uh, a lot of the segregation in Chicago is based on economics. If you've got the money, you can live where you want to. But a lot of these Black people are poor, and this is where they live because this is where they can afford to live in the neighborhoods.
Do you think they're going to keep voting for the people who are forcing another group of people to get their resources?
Oh, sure they are.
I just think about that. Like, hey, these council people are telling us they suddenly have money, but they're not going to help us. They're going to help other people. Oh, but my children also have to be in danger, especially the girls. It's more the girls. I mean, yes, a girl who thinks she's a guy who goes in a guy's locker room and strips naked. Yeah, I think that's a terrible idea, but it's also the opposite. That actually happened in LA. Did you see that?
The girl who went into the locker room and then she yeah, I read a story about that.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, the black guy who's like 6'2" and like huge, and he was fighting a girl who was like 5'6".
Oh yeah, because he identifies as a woman, so he thinks he can fight a girl like a girl would fight a woman, but this is a man.
Yeah, he slapped her on the butt with his dick.
Where
That's what
are the fathers? Because I swear to God, my stepdad would have been there. Toot sweet. It would have been on. It would have been on and cracking.
Yeah.
That is sexual assault.
America was nice while it lasted, wasn't it?
Suddenly it became a concentrated area of Korean businesses. And they were on those streets right about where the edge of the African American population had come to. And so it wasn't unusual that over a
Did you see that?
on Pico Boulevard, and suddenly it became a concentrated area of Korean businesses. And they were on those streets right about where the edge of the African.
So their community is right up against the Black community.
Yeah. Okay, so there's no the Korean Air, they have their own airport?
Really?
Well, they have. Look, we love the world of Korean Air. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, they have their own
Direct flight to Korea.
Company. They have their own airline.
Jesus.
Well, they have their own country.
This has to be South Korea. This can't be North Korea. Korean Air, 1990. Yeah, Korean Air. Graduated first pilots from Korean Air Flying School, December 1994. Launched Seoul to China passenger routes. Yeah. It's a real, they had their own airline. That's insane.
The American population had come to. And so it wasn't unusual that over a very short period of time that Korean institutions like churches and others began to be found along Adams Boulevard. What you have is African Americans getting squeezed out of their territory. So the area was in flux. The area was
there. You see, there's more of that language there. Do you see that? Now, the perspective I'm trying to say is, when these things happen to the Black community, it's seen as bad. It's not seen that way anymore. We just played the Chicago video where immigrants are just coming.
Yeah.
You know,
like it or not, here you are, and we're putting them in your neighborhood. They're not putting them in white neighborhoods. They're not even putting them in Hispanic neighborhoods. They're putting them in Black neighborhoods because they know, historically speaking, Black people don't have a say. They can protest if they want, but in the end, they can do what they want in these Black neighborhoods because Black people don't have the economic power to really have a say what goes on.
Do you think those immigrants are really safe being put in Chicago?
I
Or
think that the neighborhoods that they're putting these immigrants in, I think it's going to be a shit show. I think it's going to be a shit show.
I don't.
I think that there's going to be. I think that there's going to be a lot of people preying on these immigrants. They're putting them in the middle of the soup. They're putting them in hell. They're putting them in Blackistan. And I guess they figure, put them in Blackistan and let them battle it out.
Oh, wow. Did they take this video down? There was a video, I guess they took it down, of a bunch of Black middle schoolers showing off their Glocks with the switch on the back. And they're all like, 13, 12, and they all have them. And I'm like, oh, they're going to send immigrants here. Okay. You think Kim Fox will start prosecuting like the gangs? I know, what does she call it? Mutual combat?
Okay, no, you know what? Well, she says she's leaving.
Yeah.
She's out of there.
She should be in prison.
And thank goodness she's out of there because she has taken that office and driven it into the dirt. Nobody even wants to work in that office anymore. They're having problems recruiting.
Here, and just because there's actually someone watching this channel, which fascinates me, besides you and me. Whenever I talk about something, if I can, I like to show, so I'm not just talking out my ass because that pisses me off. Hang on one sec. You see this?
I told you we don't play with no regular nigga. Bruh, on my butter. We do. Don't play my slide. I'm supposed to play a real guess like that. Switchy. No talking. No cap. No talking. Good game. 3 switches right here. And I put the bitch. That's just enough right there. That's enough.
Look, their voices have barely changed, and they're carrying weaponry like this.
Yeah, and for anyone, again, I always assume, for anyone who doesn't know, these are probably Glocks with extended clips. This is a switch. I'm just saying this. We now have someone watching. This is a switch. They're probably sold in China. A switch. When attached to the back of a Glock, it can make it a fully automatic weapon. So all these kids have little submachine guns now. So they call it, what do they call it? They call it the Glizzy, the Extendo.
Lovely.
But anyway, back to 1992. Yeah, they're really safe, right? Oh, the immigrants are safe.
No, I don't think that these immigrants know what they're getting themselves into. They dropped them in the middle of hell. They dropped them in Blackistan.
Yeah. So this did not.
Then again, I'm going to say this also.
Go ahead. Yeah.
These people that are coming over, I think that they're going to give some of these Black people a run for their money because you know what? They're used to the real deal.
Oh, you mean like the cartel?
They're used to the cartel. They're used to the real live criminals, threatening their entire family and carrying it out. Not just some BS crime, but some real stuff that's happening. I think that, you know what? I think that they're just figuring, let them battle it out. Yeah.
So it's going to be like Venezuela when he banned all the guns, but then when Maduro banned all the guns, but then there was no food and the economy the inflation went super high and people were on average, what was it, like 20 pounds per person everyone was losing?
Mm-hmm.
The citizens started murdering police officers to get weapons. I don't condone that. I don't recommend that. This is not the type of channel. I don't recommend that advice. I'm just talking about the history of 2018 in Venezuela. Please, no one take that. Someone's going to clip this. I don't condone attacking those people. I just got to be careful. This is a recorded conversation.
You know, I don't think that that's what's going to happen here. What I think what's going to happen here is you're going to have a lot of interpersonal violence between the immigrants and the people in Blackistan.
And they're not going to be able to blame me. Right?
No, and it's going to have nothing to do with white people, except for the fact that, well, you know what? Who made the decisions to put them where they're at? Because, like I said, they didn't put all these immigrants in white neighborhoods. They didn't put them in Latino neighborhoods. They put them in Blackistan because they don't give a damn about these immigrants either.
I think that was an interesting thing you said about everybody having the same tent. I think that's interesting.
Yes. A friend of mine just posted it because she called me and she said, hey, I'm over here and all of these people have the same tent, the same type of tent, exact same type of tent, same color, same everything. And then she took pictures and showed me.
She put them on Instagram.
She put them on Facebook.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a good.
Somebody is supplying them with these tents because these were not even like little pop tents. These are good sized tents. And then they all had like a tarp cover on top of them as well to really make them weatherproof.
Yeah. Here, I'll keep going a little more.
Okay.
All right. That's interesting, though. I appreciate you sharing me that. That's interesting.
Change. And it was changing both from the influx of Latinos and Asians coming into an area that traditionally had been African American.
After the Watts riots, I believe the store owners in South Central were Jewish. As a result of the LA riots.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Horowitz. All the people who owned stores there were Jewish. That's right. Jesus Christ.
Which happened actually.
Yeah, goddamn. Everybody sticks to their group, don't they?
Right. They only see things through the prism of their own experience.
Yeah, he's of the tribe, so.
Just when the Korean immigration was beginning, the immigration laws were changed in 1965.
The Hart-Celler Act. Please talk about who pushed that through. I would really appreciate that.
The Jews withdrew, but it's not as though blacks stepped in. The only group that was willing to step in and provide this service in South Central were Koreans.
Koreans were pioneers. When nobody else wanted to invest in South Central.
I told you this movie's a hand job to the Koreans. So, but here's something I want to note. Does this look familiar? Do they have these? They have these in Philly. Do they have this in Chicago?
What is that?
So it's a bulletproof barrier, so you can't jump over the counter.
You know what? Ours are a little bit better than that. Ours are like complete. We just got like the whole damn wall, and then there's a slot that you can, a little thing that a spinning thing where you put your money in, they spin it to them, and then they put the goods in and spin it back to you. You can't. There's not that kind of opening like that. That's a little too much. These kids are flat. They little skinny butts right through that.
Well, they have that in Philly where like this will all be enclosed, but there'll be a slidey door here, and then you push the money down, and there's a slidey door on the inside, and there's a slidey door on the outside. So you actually have to push it down and then close it, and then this person will open it and reach in and pull it. So they have other things like that.
Yeah, there's a few places like that.
That's every Asian place in North Philly and South Philly. Every bodega, every store that's not owned by blacks, which is owned by Arabs, Asians, Koreans, and Indians, has unless they're like an actual unless it's a franchise like Wawa or 7-Eleven. If it's a personally owned store, they have the glass. If it's not a personally owned store, they don't have it.
Well, even in black neighborhoods, where black people own, like, say, I'm not going to say the liquor store because black people don't own liquor stores, but the food places that they own, if it's in a
Yeah.
rough neighborhood, yeah, they're fully enclosed behind glass too. And the joke is, the food is good if it's served behind a bulletproof glass.
I've heard that the thicker the glass, the better the food. That's what we say.
Hmm.
Ooh, can I found something else I wanted to ask a question about. Do you know, I think I talked about this. I told you about this guy named Talib Starks. He's a social worker from Philly.
Hmm.
He
Job
says this.
putting
He says this. I wanted to ask you if this was true or not. Let me see.
is part of the problem with I think in the black community is we think we are more of the population than what we are. Black
Yeah.
people really don't know that we're 13% of the
Right.
population because television. Danny Glover.
Afraid that camera's not going to, so that TV $1 million a year, because that demo, which is probably mostly female, buys shit. And I think
All right, this part here about he compares two stores. And I want to ask you what you thought of this.
Okay.
Because it is this way in Philly. I will vouch for that. And Talib Starks is a social worker from Philly.
blacks are the same way.
I know he's the more authority because he's black over me. So
Way.
according to America's politics.
Yeah, we
They are part of the economy.
Oh yeah, we're definitely a consumer class. Definitely, without a doubt. And it shows in the neighborhoods where you don't see any black businesses, but you have the other businesses, the other minorities will come in and brave the element and open the store, provide service, deliver pizzas. Meanwhile, we're just buying and consuming.
Right. Yes. Yes. Well, isn't there some sort of disdain from blacks towards black entrepreneurs? Like if there was a cop told me this, that if there was a cell phone store in the hood and one was black owned and the other was anything else owned, they would go to the anything else owned one just out of some sort of weird jealousy, or I don't know.
Well, it's
Before I give his answer, what do you think about that?
It's true. It's true because they're gonna the black people are gonna look at that black owned store like, why can't you give me a hookup, and then get mad.
Yo. Oh, that's exactly what he says. You ready?
Okay.
No, again, have I told you that I had a family member who started listening to you say things, and now suddenly they've started listening to me now because you said it.
Oh, because it comes out of my mouth. It has more
Yes.
authority. Oh well.
Yes, because you're black. Yes.
Oh well.
I'm
At least
I'm
somebody
I'm
listens to me.
I appreciate it. You've now brought another family member closer.
it's the crab. I know it's cliche. Heard the term 1,000 times, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's basically, how did you get that? And I did it. And then on top of that, the black person is always expected to do for blacks after he reaches a certain level. If you open a store, now you're to give stuff to blacks. Person comes in and I don't have
Right,
it.
right.
I'm $5 short. Can I? And if you say no, it's do me, brother. And
Yeah,
you-
one
if
of
he
us
comes
made
in-
it. Help a brother out. Well,
if
you
he
see
co-
that with sports stars and their entourages, or any black celebrity in his
Yeah,
entourage. He
and you see
seems
the effects.
he's got to divide everything he makes by 12 all of a sudden.
Absolutely. And that is part of the problem. Every black person, they expect a black person to always come back. And it's kind of it is bothersome as you don't get a chance to be an individual because you're expected, even if you leave I always say the hood is not a place to personify. It's a
Mm.
place to escape.
Yeah.
But
I'll stop it there.
Well, it's true. And because the first thing anybody with money does when they is leave the hood.
So if they leave, are they blamed for being? Are they just called less black?
Well, you know what? They kind of get challenged on their blackness because because they're not in the middle of it. It's like there's this attitude like the most authentically black people are the ones who are in the hood struggling, going along with the whole narrative that they want black people to go along with. They I don't I heard somebody say it and I'm looking in that direction. It's like, you know what? Black people have become a permanent underclass and some people like them like that. But black people are really going along with becoming a permanent underclass in this country, but under everybody, even the immigrants that come in here are over black people because of black people's attitudes that they are embracing being a permanent underclass, embracing always being a consumer class, never building for themselves, always looking for a handout, always looking to call themselves victims. Everything is racism, racism, racism.
There's footage in this documentary where they show the New York City Apple factory where they were started boycotting the Koreans, and they were showing like Reverend Al Sharpton and how they were trying to. I just always kind of like how DZ said, like it's always fascinating how we can always boycott, but we can't build. And by we, you know who I'm saying. She means like black men can always find the time to find signs, and you're gonna put your marching boots on, but you're not gonna, like you can't build one fucking store.
I was just having a conversation, and this is something that, like, the ladies have talked about many, many, many times. There are lots of black people in this country who have lots of money. Where is one black hospital? One. They were talking about there's this one black guy who is a billionaire and he has like, I don't know, some insane amount of billions. Where's the school that he has built? Black people do not build, they do not give back. They just
Mm.
consume, they just ask. They have a handout instead of the hand that's out is like the palm is upraised so you can put something in it. But God forbid you put a hammer in their hand so they can build something.
What do you think of? Okay, all right. How about let me ask this question? Oprah built schools in Africa. Did LeBron James build a school, right?
I don't think he built a school, but he helped with this one school. And I know he's given out lots of money for education and scholarships and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one person.
Right.
That's one person. What about all of these other black millionaires, multi-millionaires, but
Right.
not even millionaires? Come on, look at other communities. Look at other communities. The Asian community, they may not have had much, but you know what? They built some clinics in their neighborhoods, didn't they?
Yeah.
Hispanic people, they built in their community. White people, well, of course, white people are the goat. That's what they do, But black people are just sitting there saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. And the ones who actually can are not interested. They don't want to give back. Black people are the quickest people to divest from their own community. They get angry with black women saying we're going to divest, but black men will divest in a heartbeat.
Like the passport bros. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Here, I got a couple more minutes. You want to do a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I'm good.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you again.
Central LA. Entrepreneurs from South Korea came into this area. A few Chinese, but mostly Koreans, began to buy property and began to sell goods that otherwise would not have been available in the area.
Korean merchants actually innovated the idea of swap meet.
This guy's in the movie a lot. This guy talked to George Bush Sr. after the riots.
So that you can actually have what would be comparable
Black cop.
to a discount mall, where a whole bunch of small businessmen could set up small shops within the mall. And this way, the African American community was able to access goods that they would otherwise have been unable to do.
Koreans began to immigrate to the United States in the late 70s and 80s, before the Immigration Act of 1965 eliminated
The Hart-Celler Act. Why did they do that? Why do they not call it who it is and who wrote it? I don't get that.
quotas in place since 1924. U.S. immigration laws had virtually precluded Asians from entering the United States as immigrants. At the same time, Korea was undergoing rapid industrialization, rising from the ruins of the Korean War in the 1950s and becoming one of 5 nations in the world to produce automobiles. Because of its strong emphasis on education, Korea was led by a highly educated workforce, the secret to its success and rapid growth. However, strong competition limited upward mobility, prompting Koreans to look beyond their borders. Korean immigration.
This has to be South Korea, right?
Yeah.
This is not North Korea.
Mm-mm.
There's no way they would let footage out of their country.
No. North Korea is just completely shut down. It's a blackout.
Yeah. Okay. So this has to be South Korea.
And therefore began in trickles as the new Immigration Act allowed families of current U.S. citizens and permanent residents to immigrate. Although there were only a few Koreans in the U.S. to begin with, soon waves of Koreans crossed the Pacific and settled largely in the major cities, such as New York and Chicago, with L.A. attracting the highest numbers. By the early 90s, most of the Korean immigrants in Los Angeles had been in the U.S. for less than 10 years.
The first generation who came over, many of them, very well trained, very good professionals, couldn't get into their profession because of the language barrier. So they became something else, became shop owners or storekeepers, innkeepers, and those were acceptable positions.
Here's the graphic. See this? 20 years, 7,000 stores in one city. And my dad was saying something about this. My dad was saying that the reason immigrants can come here and get businesses is because they get loans.
And that's true. They get approved for loans that they will not approve Black people for, even in Black neighborhoods. Racism is a thing, but it's not everything.
So they won't give do they give I saw those Black people getting the welfare. So they give Koreans, do they give Koreans welfare?
They give everybody welfare, but the Koreans don't want the welfare. They want to own their own business because they actually want to do something.
Yeah, it's just like our country isn't for us, is it?
In marginal areas of the time to invest in.
Not in general that Korean Americans or African Americans had pensions. We're talking about a geographic area, mainly around South Central Los Angeles, which is low income neighborhood and had a history of impoverishment.
From Korean immigrants' perspective, owning and operating a mom and pop operation in South Central LA is a step down because the majority of them were college educated. They had a much higher aspiration.
Wow.
The American dream was much bigger.
But such an influx of Koreans in South Central was resented by the African American community.
And if you go back to 1980, the Amsterdam News, the largest Black newspaper in New York City, had a front page headline talking about Korean invasion in African American neighborhood. LA Sentinel, largest newspaper in west of Mississippi, in the Black community. In 1983, they also had a front page. They in fact had a 5-part series on the Korean immigrant merchants, how they were rude and disrespectful, and they were taking resources away from the Black community, all that negativity.
But the sort of position of African Americans in this country have
has been, historically a very tenuous one in terms of their relationship to the market. And African Americans have often felt somehow or another left out of the opportunity to participate in certain types of things like business and so forth and so on. So you have another group coming in when you feel you've been here for generations, your ancestors were slaves, and suddenly not only are you not having an opportunity to have a business, you then have to sort of patronize the business because it's the only outlet for goods you have in your community. And on top of that, there are cultural issues and differences that lead to misunderstandings. I guess in terms of the motivations of the storekeepers and the patrons.
What do you think of those two guys back to back saying what they're saying?
Well, I think that both of them, I think they're both correct. I think that they're both correct because you know what? Yeah. It's very easy for immigrants to come into this country and then they're pushed into other marginalized areas with other people because they were not welcome on the white side of town. That would have been too much. So they can put them on the black side of town because black people, like I said, have no real political power. Nobody gives a damn what they're saying because they don't back up what they say because they don't have any money. And money talks. Money opens doors. And so here comes these immigrants. They're not welcome on the white side of town or into white neighborhoods. They push them over into black neighborhoods. They do the best they can. They're because they're educated in their country, it doesn't count over here. So they open up these stores in black neighborhoods. The black people resent them because they have a whole historic thing going on. And I think that that's what's going to happen with a lot of these Hispanic immigrants being pushed into black communities. There's going to be a big clash because the black people are going to resent the hell out of them.
Yeah, when he says cultural differences, that's why I wanted to play the Talib Starks interview.
And there are stark cultural differences because the Koreans want to be independent. They want to be wealthy. They want to have the American dream. They want to achieve. They want to have the status, and they're willing to work for it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be willing to work 90 hours in a liquor store. That would be
right, along with their kids in the back stocking.
Yeah, that is as a Philly native. You go to Chinatown, there are kids, you walk in Chinatown, you walk in a restaurant, there are 8 and 9 and 10-year-old kids doing their homework and they will seat you down and pour you water. That happens out here at the there's a sushi place we go, and the guy who owns the place, his kids do the homework at the host table.
Look, I see it all the time with immigrants. With immigrants, they are willing to do what it takes to get ahead. And then what they do is they may have a little short store, restaurant, whatever it is. The whole family's working their ass off. I mean, the whole family is working, kids included, grandma, whoever. And then what happens is the kids are able to go to school, and then the kids become doctors, lawyers, and everything, and get the status.
Yeah.
But you don't see that in the black community because it's a completely different culture, a completely different mindset. It's more of the mindset of gimme, gimme, gimme.
I'm trying to go a little gray here. I think white liberals also contribute to the problem because if you're following the lawsuits, if you're following the Supreme Court case of the Students for Fair Admissions versus University of North Carolina and Harvard, these universities are complicit in destroying meritocratic standards. Is that the right way to say it? Meritocratic standards?
Yeah, I think
like a black kid can get 1,000 and get into a school. A white kid would have to get a 1270. An Asian kid would have to get a 1450. And the lawyer for Harvard got put on the spot by Justice Gorsuch. And he said, why is it that you created a character test where for 3 years, African Americans have scored at the top? And not just one test, every African American has the highest score and every Asian has the lowest score, why has that pattern been the same for 3 years? They created a character test to, and it's like
They created
whatever.
a character test to do what? To boost black people's ego, saying you're not actually at the bottom of the totem pole. Look at you. You're so smart. Look at this. Here's a test that, that you guys can pass.
When you hear people say culturally, the tests are culturally biased, but then someone from another country can come here, but Africans from Africa can ace.
Them.
I don't, but then someone would say, oh, but those people are different because they're of a higher class from that country. They have money, they can study.
That's not true. It's the mindset. It's the, how many, okay. I hear this a lot.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate from common arguments.
Okay. You'll have a black kid in school who's the nerdy black kid who's studying and everything like that. And then they will be put down for it.
By the other blacks. Right.
By the other black kids. So how much is education actually valued? What's valued is swag. What's valued is braggadocio. What's valued is, street value. That's the valuable thing. Not getting that, not going home and studying for hours and hours and hours so you can actually pass that test. Yeah, you know what? Because I know a lot of poor, broke-ass white people who go to shitty schools too. Okay, they act like all white people are in private schools with tutors and everything. I know a lot of broke-ass white people who are in bad schools. Look at the kids that are like over in the I know I'm going to mispronounce it, but the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I live close to that. I'm in central PA now.
Okay, and I've seen like the white kids who live in small towns in Michigan, in Indiana, and the schools are not great. You can learn anywhere if you value education, but it's not valued. The
Here,
nerd is not valued. The guy with the swag is valued.
I want to bring up this article. I agree with everything you're saying, but I think it's worse.
I think it's a lot worse. You know what? And it is heartbreaking. I'm a black person. This is heartbreaking.
Here, this will be I hope you're okay. This is the last thing I cover. I gotta do some stuff, but I agree with everything you're saying. But I think whatever the leftism, whatever you want to call it, whatever the excuse making is, and meritocracy and doing your homework and taking standardized tests, oh, that's all a construct of white supremacy. Now, to make it worse, you have shit like this. Can you see this? You have these teachers who were withholding merit awards for their students, and the students tended to be like they tended to be immigrants. They tended to be white people, or they would be like Pakistanis or Indians.
Mm-hmm. Because it hurt the black people's feelings that they weren't doing what they should. It's this whole liberal bullshit where they're patting black people on the back. We know you can't do any better. We're going to pat you on the back, and you can have everything too, even though we know, there's this condescension. We know you can't. We know you're actually stupid. So we're going to like dummy down everything for you. We're going to grade everything on a curve for you because you can't measure up to everybody else on the planet. I'm sorry, but
here it is. This is Thomas Jefferson. Go ahead.
I don't want a doctor who got along because he was black. I want a doctor who is smart. I want the top of the class, not the one who barely got in because the grade was curved. I want the best and the brightest. And if it hurts certain people's feelings that they didn't measure up, I don't know, study harder. How about that?
Yeah. Honors classes due to no black or Latino enrollment. But I'm with you. I want to end on these 2 points here.
Okay, cool.
You know, this is a school in Virginia where they were denying students, withholding notifications of National Merit Awards, most of them Asian, thus denying students the right to use those awards to boost their college admissions prospects, and earn scholarships.
That's wrong.
And yeah, this is the woman who did it. Here's the principal.
Of course.
Like,
white liberal woman.
What the fuck? Yeah, right. Anne Bonita Tibbs. And here we go. But the principal who lobbied that fall to nix the school's merit-based admission test to increase diversity never told us about it. This woman's a fucking psychopath. And then I have one more, and that's in Virginia. And thankfully, Governor Youngkin has been investigating. There was this Muslim Marxist woman who thought all testing should just be eliminated in schools, and he got her to resign. Thank God. But it's like, here, where is this? Here it is. This was in California. They offered an honors. Oh shit! I'll just play it. They offered an honors English class, and because there wasn't enough blacks and Latinos who signed up for it, it was all whites and Asians. They just canceled it. And another thing they don't talk about is they've pushed all the kids into like 1 or 2 English classes. And I think that's because of the influx of the immigrants for a language barrier. They don't mention that in this article, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? And this discourages.
This one. Go ahead.
Discourages the best and the brightest, because these people can't level up. We're going to bring you down. That's not fair. That's not right. The cream is supposed to float to the top.
Here, you want me to read you what somebody's parents say?
Yeah.
Here. Parents at a Los Angeles high school spoke out, eliminate honors classes in the name of racial equity because they didn't enroll enough Black and Latino students. Many parents attended to ask the administration to reinstate, which they laid out in a 2-page resolution. We are immigrants. My family are immigrants. We came to this country to have a better life, better education, to get out of poverty. We want to give them a better education because this is why we chose Culver City. Administrators argue that this keeps everyone on the same playing field so students are able to enroll in advanced classes in the junior and senior years of high school. The freshman and sophomore only have 1 level of English. We have entrenched patterns of disparity amongst different student populations when it comes to academic performance and an alarming reduction of educational opportunities that are available to every student with no input from key stakeholders, parents, families, and students. Families of students in our district have been offered very little visibility and information on this issue, leading to the education of the children and have not been afforded meaningful opportunities to voice their views on the sweeping changes made on access to honors classes for all students. Other parents were critical of the district for implementing the one-size-fits-all approach that doesn't address what they believe to be the real problem. Here we go. The district does not address the underlying issues of underrepresentation experienced by Black and brown students in honors classes and has replaced previous honors English content with a one-size-fits-all class that is not serving the interests of many students, and in particular does not specifically address the need for additional support for underperforming students while also ignoring the needs of high-performing students.
So everybody has to achieve the same level of mediocrity.
Yeah. And the school said, a representative said, this is an issue of both academic rigor and equity. There's that fucking word there. That's the end. That word is the end. The transition from a two-tier system of honors and non-honors to college prep classes for all was led by our English teachers. We put our trust in our educators who are closest to our students, the teacher who are with them in the classroom day in and day out. That's a bullshit answer.
So no rewards for those who actually do better. Everybody has to stay at the same level. We're not going to help the ones who really need the help, and we're not going to reward the ones who should be rewarded. You know, this country has really gone straight to hell. You know what? This is I was talking about this with a friend, and then I'm going to get off the subject because I think I'm going to do some stuff on the subject myself.
Yeah, for sure.
We've gotten to the point in this country, they always say, oh, everybody gets a trophy, right? But if no one is able to achieve and to be rewarded for their achievements, why should they bother? It's like the left has actively criticized the right, saying, look at the tactics that the right use. They ban books. They want to limit speech. They want to do all these things. The left has always accused the right of doing. They've always accused the right of like holding up whatever their sense of morality is. Like, oh my God, this is terrible. But then the left is now in power, and this is what they're doing. They're dragging us all down. They're enforcing their own socialist view. I don't even know if I'm talking out of my ass right now, but I do know that the left is in charge right now, and what they're doing is they're dragging down the standard of this country.
Would you leave if you had to?
If I had to, I'll leave anyway.
Yeah.
I would leave anyway. You know what? Look, I'm going to do what's best for me and mine. Now, if I'm here in the United States, well, then, yeah, I'm going to make sure I've got a place where I'm comfortable, where I feel safe, where I can be all I can be in this country. But if I didn't think I could do that here, I would go elsewhere. It's a big, wide world.
Yeah.
I love this country, but I'm not a fool to its faults. And in the end, I don't have loyalty if I got to live in a neighborhood when I'm scared I'm going to be gunned down.
Yeah, you're right.
Hell yeah, I'd leave.
Well, on that note, I appreciate you coming by. Would you want to keep watching that documentary next week?
I do. Let's watch some more of it.
All right.
I don't know if I should apologize. I just keep going off on a tangent.
Oh, go no. That's the whole point of this. This is a steam valve. This is good for me because I can't say any of this at my job.
Yeah. Look, it's a lot I can't say when I go to when I'm out and about because they only like Black liberals. They don't like Black conservatives, and they don't like Black moderates. Either you toe the line, or they look at you like you are, like you're going to hell, like you're disloyal. You know what? But in the end, I'm loyal to me. I'm loyal to me and mine.
Yeah, that's the line I drew. The line I drew is the kids.
Yeah.
And if you're not on the side of the kids, I'm done. There is no living with people who are not going to protect their children.
I am on the side of morality. I am on the side of family. I am on the side of the kids.
Yeah. Well, on that positive note, let me know when you have. I'll reach out to you on Sunday and let me know when you got some time next week, and we'll keep going with these. We'll keep covering the LA riots. Yeah.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right. You have a good weekend. I'll talk to you.
Talk to you later.
All right. Later.